Fani Willis now in the hot seat. She thought maybe she could save herself a little bit, redeem herself as some kind of, redemption trial that she's going through with Rachel Maddow over on MSNBC. Rachel, who pled Fani's case quite poorly, but let's watch Fani first because Fani's in a lot of trouble. Just to break it down, as we await the jury's decision on Donald Trump, they're going to begin deliberations next week in New York City. Down in Fulton County, there's a whole other thing going on because everybody's kind of realized that Fani Willis is, dare I say, corrupt. It's alleged anyway that she's corrupt. But I would just start with this. If you're hiring your boyfriend to the tune of $600,000 a year and not telling anybody, that's kind of corrupt. And it's actually a big deal that they started their fling before he was employed, because if a good forensic accountant can get in there and prove this out legally, I'm saying join forces with the ex-wife, Nathan Wade's ex-wife, because she needs a forensic accountant to figure out where the heck her husband was spending all that money. So if he's earning all this money because he's the boyfriend of Fani Willis, well, then that's kind of a problem, especially if Fani was getting any kind of kickback on the side. I'm talking monetary kickback on the side, right? Was she skimming anything off the top? That's the question that people are going to be asking and should be asking. And by the way, it's the question that Republicans are asking in Georgia. And it's the question that Jim Jordan is getting at as well. Well, Jim Jordan also wants to know, to what extent was there any coordination between Fani Willis, Alvin Bragg, the Department of Justice, Jack Smith, etc.? I mean, why is it that Fani Willis was going to the White House to supposedly hang out with Kamala Harris? They say, she's just going to a party. Why is it that Nathan Wade was going to the White House? Why is it that he was charging Fulton County taxpayers to go to the White House? These are questions that Jim Jordan is asking, and Jim Jordan deserves answers to. So Fani, on election day for her, and, she should be able to win this. This is a primary, whatever. She's going to face some stiff competition with the Republican, mind you, coming up. But Fani Willis went on to MSNBC to a very sympathetic ear in the chief conspiracy theorist of the left, that would be Rachel Maddow, ladies and gentlemen, and had this to say. Let's watch.
Anyone who knows Jim Jordan's history knows that he only has the purpose of trying to interfere in a criminal investigation. He has now turned his tricks to, he's going to look at grant programs, which I invite him to do, and we have complied with his subpoenas, but yet he continues his attacks to try to interfere in a criminal investigation, while his jurisdiction has one of the worst crime rates, has poverty issues, and not one time has he used his position to try to investigate people who are attacking me and attacking others legitimately doing their jobs, making him illegitimate in his position, and it's disgusting.
Oh, no, you know what's disgusting? What's disgusting is what you have done down in Fulton County. A county, by the way, that is in a whole other set of nastiness and trouble because, well, it turns out that they double counted somehow mysteriously. Oh, it's just a mistake. Down in Fulton County, they double counted the votes, and now they have to have an election overseer come in November because the Georgia Elections Oversight Board found that they were counting votes twice. So like 3,000 votes got counted twice, whatever, down there in Fulton County, Georgia. So they have an interesting way of rolling, and their DA there, Fani Willis, is out for blood, and she has to be, right? This is what she campaigned on. She's got all kinds of Democrat money backing her with the expectation that she goes after Trump. So when Jim Jordan says, hey, let's take a time out and let's figure out whether or not you guys are coordinating efforts at all, whether there's something nationally here at play, she's like freaking out, goes on offense. So this wasn't just redemption. This was also offense. By the way, we had to hear her over and over and over again talk about how rough it is from a personal perspective. Listen, lady, that's what you signed up for goodness sakes. I mean, that's the job you have. Hate to break it to you, but I don't think any DA has it easy. Thank you very much. And you decided to take on the president, former president of the United States of America. So, you know what? It is what it is. I mean, I'm not saying it's fair and I'm not saying it's great. Nobody likes being in the public eye like that. Believe me, it's not fun, but there's a certain kind of expectation one should have when you get into that line of work. And so she's brought this on. It's one of the reasons why I said, she should have had a very clean house herself. What's the expression? Those living in glass houses should not throw stones. And you knew they were going to uncover something. I mean, who knew it was going to be the ex-wife who was divorcing Nathan Wade and actually discovered that there was all kinds of impropriety going on. Yeah. From the woman who told us she would never take up with one of her employees and would certainly never spend taxpayer dollars on one of her employees. I want to go to another Fani clip from MSNBC as she was on this sort of redemption tour and attack tour of Jim Jordan. Here we go.
At the state level, they've decided to follow this clown's lead. And they want to now try to interfere in an investigation. And it's not legitimate either. And so it shall fail.
You hope so. You hope so, lady. She's now got the feds after her. She's got the state after her. And I think that they're after her for good reason, which is more, by the way, than she's got to go after Donald Trump with. I mean, if you want to call a spade a spade. Here she is, though, in Georgia, saying she's not going to comply. I mean, she's like pulling a Steve Bannon here, right? Like, Steve is facing jail time. So is Peter Navarro, right? Because they don't want to comply with the subpoena. And then there's Fani Willis saying the same darn thing. Take it away, Drew.
You appear before a Georgia Senate committee without a subpoena?
Well, first of all, I don't even think they have the authority to subpoena me, but they need to learn the law.
So will you appear, yes or no?
I will not appear to anything that is unlawful. And I have not broken the law in any way. I said it, I'll say it amongst these leaders. I'm sorry folks get pissed off that everybody gets treated evenly.
All right. I think she answered that very well.
Okay, so she's not going to go show up for testimony when she's being asked to do so by Georgia Republicans. I'm sorry, Fani, that's not how it works. You ought to know, right? You're a lawyer. You ought to know. You're going to have to answer these questions. I think she's finally come to that realization. She did get herself a lawyer, actually. I think one of Rachel's friends. And she's come to the realization that she's actually in a little bit of trouble. Maybe a lot of trouble. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't have any sympathy. Do you? I'm curious. Again, it's a live show, but if you're watching after we are live, make sure you make comments below. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, all of that good stuff. I got to show you Rachel Maddow's reaction to this. Rachel Maddow is like melting down over poor Fani. Oh my gosh, it's just terrible that people are upset with Fani. I mean, she is, after all, a prosecutor down in Fulton County, Georgia. And when you are a prosecutor of any kind, right? Like, it doesn't even have to be the Trump thing. You run certain risks, period. Like, you have to accept that you're in the public eye. It comes with the job, just like being Rachel Maddow comes with, well, unfortunately for her, being Rachel Maddow. That's not something I would envy in any way, shape, or form for a variety of reasons. But anyway, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow is sort of doubling down on her desperate plea to make life better for Fani, because you know what? We need people like Fani. We need people. We don't have a country without people like Fani. Yeah, here we go.
The history of the rule of law in this country tells us that the rule of law does not magically defend itself. And it is mortal. It can be killed. When it is attacked, it breaks. The rule of law in this country, in practical terms, is made up of people doing hard jobs who themselves can break when they are attacked. And right now, you and I, all of us, we are making history in this country. And the history that we are making is that there's no one defending Fani Willis but herself. And in the, noble alternate version of this history that we'd like to imagine we would be part of, the whole country would be up in arms about Georgia and about New York and about all of these cases, telling these people to back off the judges, back off the witnesses and the jurors, back off the prosecutors, back off Fani Willis, protect these cases, protect the rule of law. We imagine that's who we are as a country, but we are not showing it. We are not standing up to defend these people. At least, not yet.
Okay, so that doesn't apply to Trump? at all? I mean, like the rule of law does not apply to him. Letitia James is perfectly fine to go after the former president of the United States or anybody for that matter. She could go after you because she doesn't like you. She doesn't like your politics. Maybe the people that helped get her elected had a vendetta against you and your business. And now you're suddenly vulnerable because you misspoke or inflated the square footage on your apartment. Now she can go after you because she thinks that you're estimating your vacation home for a value that is greater than she deems appropriate. I mean, it's laughable. She's trying to say that Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million. I mean, in that case, I'll buy it. Thank you very much. Right? I mean, you take that trade all day long. Letitia, you got to scrounge up a few because you should buy it in that case. Maybe that's what she's trying to do here, ladies and gentlemen. She's trying to have some kind of fire sale a la Venezuela. You talk Banana Republic. That's what this is, right? We have a fire sale. We grab up everything that we want. We'll get Trump's golf course over here, this one over here. We'll take Trump Tower. That's what she was aiming for. How insane is that? Rachel Maddow, where are you, girl? Where are you on the stuff that actually is going on in real time? Oh, we know where you are. You're way out in left field, just like you were throughout the Russia stuff. I mean, the excitement in that woman's voice. And I kept saying to people, like, at the time I was working at Fox, and everybody thought Fox was the conspiracy theory. And I'm like, no, excuse me, have you watched MSNBC by any chance lately? I mean, she was weaving together all kinds of concoctions. I mean, that was just nauseating. And she's continuing to do it. She's down to what, once a week there? Thank God. Now we just have to hear the others. But she really has taken conspiracy level stuff to a whole new angle. And now she's trying to say that it is all based on freedom and democracy and blah, 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 and the rule of law. No, if there was any concern for the rule of law, let me be very frank, we wouldn't be looking at 91 indictments against the guy. Like, that's messed up. If Rachel could possibly ever understand it. I actually think she does. I think she understands it quite well. I have had some interactions with her in the past. She's been quite lovely. Of course, she's playing for the other team, and it's me. Just kidding. But she was perfectly fine to me. I used to work at NBC. I would say this. She's also friends with Tucker Carlson, and they seem to have a nice relationship. And at one point, the founder of Fox tried to hire her. And I would say that she knows exactly what she's doing, and she's an entertainer. And that's kind of sad because it's what you call irresponsible entertainment when you're manipulating people like that. And look, I just call it like I see it. You know that. Sure, I have a bias, but I'm actually a registered independent. Look, I'll take you. You know what? You want to cut taxes. You want to secure the border. You want to put more power in the hands of the people? You want to keep us safe? Like, you got me, okay? And by the way, this doesn't have to be a partisan thing. Don't forget JFK cut taxes. Okay, so I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, what I care about is our safety, our freedom, our rights. I'm not convinced she does. I think she cares about this sort of communist insanity, and I don't get it because the woman's making a lot of money. It's not like she's donating it. I mean, hey, Rachel, if you're that passionate about this so-called socialism agenda, which borders on pure communism, then give a little back. But we know how they work, right? You know how they work. The communists, they live high on the hog themselves. That's the problem.